I've been streaming for about a year now, and this experience has led to increased confidence in my art, building an engaged, active community, making friends, increased commission leads, and a small side income. If you're considering streaming your art, stick around, as I'm going to be sharing why I think you should make that jump, or maybe why it might not be right for you. Let me start with why I started streaming and how I got the ball rolling with that. Going back before I started streaming, I was working full time, but I wanted to do something that was mine on the side of my full-time job, and I wanted to combine my skill set as a graphic designer with something I felt passionately about. And I really enjoy video games, and at the time I was playing a lot of World of Warcraft. So what I did was I started creating these World of Warcraft themed emblem designs, which started to gather a little bit of interest. From this I started meeting some people. Now fast forward a little bit, and lockdown was in full force in the UK. I was on furlough, but I wanted to keep that creativity going. Now, because I'd already started creating these emblems, I just carried on with those. But I had a little bit more free time on my hands, and I wondered how I could push it further. After some thinking, I realised that live streaming was probably the way to go. Now, because of the group of friends I'd made on Instagram already, I built a really small community. And these guys were awesome. They're still my friends now, and they came across with me from Instagram to Twitch when I first started live streaming my design processes. And this, I discovered, was a really fun and new way to connect with these people, to connect with these friends I'd made. Now, to begin with, I didn't have the best equipment, but I just sort of did a little bit of research and figured out how I was going to be able to share my iPad screen, as that's what I was using to produce my designs, to a streaming platform. I bought a really basic webcam off of Amazon, which was inexpensive, but it did the job. I already had the Blue Yeti microphone. I bought this for recording a tutorial in the past, but it's a good microphone. It's a little bit on the more expensive side for USB mics, but I would say if you're going to spend more on a particular bit of equipment, go with audio, because in my eyes it's one of the most important aspects of your stream setup. So I also feel like I went into streaming with the right mindset. I didn't go into streaming thinking I was going to make money from it, and ultimately I just wanted to do it because I thought it would be fun. I knew I'd enjoy it. I thought it might help some people, and at the end of the day it was a way for me to express my creativity further. A little bit later in the video, I'm going to be sharing some tips on how you can get started with your own art streams, maybe, if it is something you're thinking of doing. So be sure to stick around for that. But for now, I want to go through the benefits and a few of the cons to live streaming your art. But we'll start with the benefits. The first benefit, and I'm going to go back to something I said earlier, is you get to meet new people. You get to make friends. And this leads on to building a small community, and honestly, it's the best feeling, and it's way up there on my list of benefits when it comes to live streaming. It really is. Through this, it leads to what I feel is another of the benefits, which is you get to help others, and through helping others, you gain confidence in yourself too, which is a benefit in itself. So ultimately, the benefit is you're providing value in some way, which can really help when building those friendships and relationships, whether they be working or personal, with people. Ultimately, by sharing the process, you're building trust in your work and your capabilities, which again is a benefit. Through this base confidence in your work, you're also going to become a lot more confident in presenting your work and talking about it, because when you're on stream, you want to be keeping the conversation going, even if there's nobody there. Somebody might pop in, and if you're just sat there in silence, they might not want to stick around. But if they can see you're actively describing the process, or you're talking about something they might be interested in, they're more likely to stick around. They might even say hi and join in on the conversation. Another benefit, which I think is quite a fun one, is you're likely to learn new skills from this. If you haven't live streamed before, the whole process is going to be new. So you're going to be learning how to set up your live stream, what graphics you can and can't implement onto your overlay. To be honest, you can apply most things. What music you're going to be using, royalty free, of course. This is things I'll get into later. There's lots you're going to have to consider when you're setting up your live stream. And even when it comes down to the video editing sides of things, because you might want to utilize that content across YouTube, or you might want to upload your own custom VODs to Twitch. But with each of those things comes a little skill set that you're probably going to need to teach yourself or learn. I've had to learn all of these skills myself, and you know, I'm still learning. That's part of the fun. I think that's a benefit because you're increasing your skill set and your library of things that you can do. Another one of the benefits that I find comes a little bit later down the line is when you've built up that trust with your community and your audience, and you have that confidence ingrained in your skills, when people need something that you can do, the likelihood is because of the relationship you've built, they're probably going to come to you for that work, which means increased commission leads. And again, this is something that comes a little bit later down the line, and it's not something you should go in with the expectation of, but if it happens, it is a nice benefit. And the same applies to the side income you can make from Twitch. There are some people out there, artists included, that can make a full-time income through Twitch, and that's great, but this isn't something that happens often, and any additional money you make through the platform is just a nice bonus. Even if it buys you a cup of coffee, it's a little benefit, and it's your audience showing you that they appreciate you. So remember, number one is make sure you're providing value. Make sure you're providing more than you're getting back, because that way you're going in with the right mindset. Now let's move on to the cons of live streaming, and to be honest, I can only really think of 3. You will come across trolls. I was streaming once and somebody came in and they just said to me straight off the bat, "When are you going to get good?" Now my immediate response to this was, why do you feel the need to enter people's streams and spread negative energy? And then that person ultimately got banned from my channel. Now, it's important to approach these trolls in a certain way, and that is, do not allow them to get the desired effect. So I confronted that person with my own comment, but luckily by this time I'd been streaming for a little while, and I already had enough confidence in my work to not allow that to get to me. Moving on to the second con, I feel like it might take you a little while to find your voice. Now, this isn't necessarily a con, this is just something that's part of the process, and this ties in with a follow-up, and that is, you may feel disheartened if you're not immediately getting views on your content. Now, it's easy to feel that way, and, you know, speaking from experience, I've gone through it a few times, but please, don't let that dishearten you. It just means people haven't found you yet. And the more you do it, the more you put yourself out there, and the more you communicate and meet new people within groups and other social media platforms, the more likely those people will find you. And you'll, like I say, you'll get a small group of people, and that will really build and boost your confidence. So don't let those initial days falter your progress. So earlier in the stream, I promised that I would share some tips to help you get started. So let's jump into some of those. Firstly, I want to reiterate that you must go in with the right mindset. If you're going in it for the money, that's the wrong mindset. But if you're going in it because you feel like you're going to enjoy the process, you're going to enjoy sharing your work, you're going to enjoy meeting new people, that is the right mindset. My second tip is you're going to want to decide on what platform you want to stream on. At the moment, 2 that spring to mind are Twitch and YouTube. I started on Twitch, but I didn't have a YouTube channel at the time. So if you're already on YouTube, it might make sense to schedule in your live events to the platform you're already on. So something else I want to reiterate as a tip if you're starting is make sure you inject your personality into your stream. Again, this is your overlays, this is your profile picture, this is your alerts, this is even your about me section. And aside from the design aesthetic, you want to make sure when you're addressing the people that are in your stream as well, you've got that high energy or whatever it is that is your personality. Just make sure it's consistent, because it's you and people will come to know you for that. And the best way you can be unique and stand out on any platform is to just be you. So towards the beginning of the stream, I mentioned how I'd got myself involved in the community I wanted to be a part of. And this is a great way to get started. Go into group discussions and join in. Provide value, maybe even provide something for free that only you can give them, for the beginning anyway. Before I started streaming, when I first started getting into the community, I used to host monthly giveaways where the winner would have their World of Warcraft character turned into a quirky little emblem design, and it was theirs, and it was bespoke, and it went down really well, and I made some really nice friends through that, and I met some really cool people. I'd highly recommend considering that, especially when you're first starting out. Another thing to consider when you're first starting is whether or not you're going to have music playing in the background of your stream. Little hint, I'd recommend it, because especially when you're focusing on your work and maybe there's a period of time you're not talking, it's nice to have something on in the background to break that silence. And it's even nice to have something faint on in the background when you are talking. But if you're going to do this, you're going to want to find some royalty-free music. So there's plenty of resources for this. And two that come to mind are Pretzel Rocks and Harris Heller's Stream Beats. Both are really good resources, and I will include links for both in the description below. Finally, and this is probably the most important thing if you're going to start live streaming, is you're going to need to figure out what software you need to use and what hardware you're going to need to get to just get the ball rolling. Now, in terms of software, as a beginner, I would recommend Streamlabs. I still use it a year down the line. It's incredibly easy to use. It's easy to add your sources, like your overlay images, like your alerts. It's very intuitive, and there are a ton of tutorials out there teaching you how to use it. It doesn't take long at all. In terms of your hardware, so I would recommend having a webcam. It's not vital that you show your face, but I do feel like it helps the audience connect with you as a streamer. You're probably going to want either a second camera to film your work, especially if it's traditional, or you're going to need to look in some software where you can share your tablet screen. I share my iPad screen, and I've actually created a video before describing how I use Air Server to ping that over to my computer so I can share it on stream. So Air Server is a good app for that if you are using iPad. I think it does work on Android tablets as well, so definitely consider checking that out. Otherwise, just consider having a camera pointed down at your work, so any way that people can see your work clearly is going to be the best way. If they can't see your work clearly, they're probably not going to stick around because they'll have no idea what you're working on. And when it comes to your audio, I would highly recommend spending a little bit more on the microphone. It doesn't have to be super expensive, but your audio quality is something that people are going to immediately notice. And if it's bad and distracting, it's unlikely people are going to stick around. Definitely consider how you can improve your audio. Again, I use a Blue Yeti USB mic. It's a good microphone, but I even find myself using software like Voice Meter Banana just to help boost those levels a little bit and give it a punchier sound. So Voice Meter as well is another software that I would recommend you looking into, regardless of the microphone you get. And again, that is something that has a plethora of tutorials available to watch. So as I mentioned, I will be including links to any of the software mentioned in the description below. I am not affiliated with any of these. My opinion is totally unbiased. I use them because they work, and that's why I am able to recommend them, because I've had good experiences with these. I also said at the beginning that I would be going through reasons that streaming might not be right for you. I feel like I've already addressed these, but just to reiterate, if you're going in with only the intention of making money, then this is not right for you. I'm sorry to say it. The thing is, it might happen, but it's not guaranteed, and it shouldn't be the main thing that's fueling your motivations. And the second reason streaming might not be right for you is you might just not be comfortable on camera. You might not be comfortable performing your design work, your artwork live, and that's totally okay too. At the end of the day, you should only be going into this if you're fully comfortable and you're ready to meet new people in that way and have people watch you while you work, because it does take some getting used to, but if you can get past that, then you're on track to making some amazing friends and building an awesome community. That's my 2 cents on why you should or shouldn't start streaming, along with some tips as well. Let me know in the comments if you're considering streaming your creative endeavors, and if you are already streaming, then use this opportunity to network. Let me know a little bit about your channel and drop your link down in the comments. It would be cool to check it out. As always, it's been a pleasure. Until next time, stay safe.